Okay, so hello everyone. Today I will be talking about Cyrene. Okay, the GOAT, the character that you've all been waiting for. This character is a Remembrance Path character. Don't mind this, yeah, this is the source of my analysis here. So this is why Cyrene is an insanely broken character. Like her entire kit is basically TLDR, like the summary of her kit is that she basically extremely buffs all Chrysos Heirs, essentially the entire cast of Amphorius from the Starlight Aglaia to the newest character like Dan Heng and even Finon and other very broken characters as well. So you might see here, this is the summary that I extremely oversimplified that she does to each Chrysos Heir. But first of all, we start with the basics. That is her entire kit. So first of all, the basic is just your average basic. She scales off of her own HP, and basic gives one stack of recollection. Her skill gains three stacks of recollection. We will talk about recollection later. Just remember that the basic gives one, and the skill gives three stacks. So the talent basically explains her entire ultimate kit. Her ultimate is unlike your average ultimate, just like Akron, Finon, Facial, Finon, yeah, those characters, where her ult needs a specific trigger to work. So for this case, she gains one recollection. You need 24 recollections for her first ult, and you can then use 12 recollection for a second ult after that first ult. So it's a little bit complicated, but we will go through this one by one. So you need 24 stacks to ult. You get 3 stacks from her skill, 1 stack if you basic attack, and the other forms of gaining stacks is after your allies take action, they gain future. Sorry, Cyrene takes action, and then your 3 other allies, yes, because there are 4 characters in the team, your 3 other allies gains future after Cyrene. So after Cyrene, they get each get 1 stack of future. Now this stack only applies if they and this stack then will give her 1 stack of recollection if they get into action. So if they get down, died, or maybe they just get left out from the action bar entirely, they will not give her a stack. On uh, on greatest opportunity on the brighter side. So when the oh, fuck, you are expected to get at least 6 stacks every turn. So this is assuming Cyrene goes first, and then your 3 other characters take action after Cyrene. And this doesn't apply to characters that have member sprites yet. So with characters that have member sprites, with where is the exact thing? So basically, while I try to find it, uh, her member sprite does not is not there it is. When the teammate member set is 1, it gains future health, cannot the member set cannot use them. So every time a member sprite takes action, they also give her a stack. But the difference is member sprites do not need to refresh. So these member sprites can act anytime, anywhere, and they will still give her a stack. The Cyrene does not need to go first before the member sprite in order to give stacks. So uh, if you want to get her out as fast as humanly possible, you will want Cyrene and your entire team to go as fast as possible. And if you want to go a step further, then you will have your entire team be remembrance characters because they each have member sprites, and each member sprite can generate a stack for her on their own. So that is it. So you will need 24 stacks. Again, 24 stacks. After you get 24 stacks, you can then activate her ultimate. Okay, that is all. We go back to the skill. The 3 stacks is most. She also deploys a zone that lasts for 2 turns, only 2, unlike most characters, which are 3 turns, which is weird, but it's okay. Decreasing 1 after each turn, blah blah blah. And the thing about this is that deals true damage equal to 25% of the original damage. This zone even lasts anywhere, even inside Finance Alt and other places, so you basically have a 25% true damage boost. Now, back to her ultimate again. Her technique actually just casts the skill, so that is all. Back to her ult, this is still in her talent, so after you get to 24, you can cast her ult, and then after you ult, you can use her Member Sprite skill. The Member Sprite is basically just yourself, so when I'm referring to Member Sprite, I'm just referring to Cyrene in her ult form, okay? So when after you get the first 24 stack, you can actually get to only 12 stacks, and then you can get her ult again. So after 24 stacks, you use her Member Sprite skill, and then you can then proceed with the game, and then you can get 12. After you get 12 recollection stacks again, then you can ult again while she is on her Member Sprite form. I don't think she has I don't think she has a limit to her 12 recollection form or her Member Sprite form, unless her Member Sprite dies or she basically dies. So after you get 24, you basically just need 12 recollection. So the first ultimate is the hardest to get. And also after the ultimate, her ultimate is actually pretty broken. She summons the Member Sprite, which is herself. Ignore that. So cost immediately to one extra turn, so her Member Sprite immediately takes action, which is the part where either you use her Member Sprite skill or you use her other skill, which is just an attack. I don't think the attack does any significant damage, so we will just be focusing on the Member Sprite skill. Her ultimate basically increases Siren and the Member Sprite crit rate by 62.5%, and then wait, this is the sorry, the ult. Where's her? Where's the ult? Where's the ult? Where's the ult? Huh. So basically, while I try to find this, the ultimate is she gives her ultimate activates the ultimates of all allies, and then enters the ripples of the past reverie state. So this is the Member Sprite form. And after activating ultimates, you can then use her Member Sprite skill, which is the basically her entire kit. So first of all, if it is given to a non Chrysos Heir member, so any other character like maybe Qing Yuan or Akron, for example, they will only get, I think, 40%. Where is the stat? Okay, so if the target is not a Chrysos Heir, it increases her damage by 56% for 2 turns. So it's basically a Bronya buff. with the special effect of that you activate your allies, all of them. I think she also okay. So her Memo Sprite skill is basically the important part of her entire kit. So this is where I summarize everything. First of all, remember, so this is after you use the ult, and then you can get the Memo Sprite skill. So getting this skill is quite hard. So because each Chrysos Heir actually has a separate buff. Each Chrysos Heir does not get the same buff. Like for example here, let's just say Remembrance Trailblazer. It increases their HP and crit and unlocks a secret combined attack or like combined attack. Yeah. So if you have seen leaks, I'm sorry, I need to say leaks because all of this is just leak material. If you have seen the leaks, you the Trailblazer and Cyrene can use a joint attack. I don't know how that works. I don't know how it specifically gets into the play. The new light cone, the 4-star new light cone, will also buff this joint attack for Harmony Air. For Remember Trailblazer, I don't know how it works. I don't think it's that significant, but it can perhaps be useful. Okay, we get into it. So we talk about members MC. The buff actually lasts for the entire battle. So after you get her ult and you use her member sprite skill, you can use this skill on member Trailblazer, and the buff will stay forever. It will not go off unless Trailblazer dies, or even then he might not. he might even get the buff if he gets revived by that casters or something. Aglaia maxes her speed stack, so Aglaia has a bit of scaling with speed. I don't really. I need you. You will need to read her kit to know what this means. Okay, lightens her energy need. It's she gets like 60 energy, and then 100 damage again, and 50% defense ignore, which is massive, I would say. And it actually buffs the one. It is a one-time effect, so aka dueling her stat. So I think the skill, the Remembrance Path skill, when used on Aglaia, it activates when she enters her old form, aka the part where she and Garment Maker is attacking together. So when the old duration ends, the buff also ends. Okay. Next is 3B, +1 damage instant on follow-up attack. So when you follow-up attack, 3B actually does a couple instances of damage to the enemy's hit. But this increases that damage instance by 1, and her attacks now ignore 50% of defense, which is will hurt very much. And this buff lasts for the entire battle, as you can see. Next is Mighty. He gets a 84% crit damage boost and then immediately triggers his strongest attack or defensive kick forward if he isn't under Vendetta state. So you know how Mighty has the state. I call this the autoplay basically, but it is called the Vendetta state. The part where he actually takes his own turns. You don't get to determine whether he uses basic or skill. He just does that, and immediately triggers his strongest attack. The strongest attack is, I think, the part where he uses the crystal to crush the enemy. So immediately so when he in his vendetta state, his attack varies, and then when the state is about to end, he launches this attack that hurts very much. So immediately launches this attack, and then continues the vendetta state. But if he isn't under the vendetta state again, he just gets a 100% advance in bonus. So you will probably want him to be under the vendetta state before getting the Cyrene skill onto him. And this lasts for one time, okay, during his Vendetta state, okay. Next is Castor's stack overflow is increased by 100%. So you know how Castors need to consume like 100% of HP to get her ult as fast as possible. So you cannot overflow the stack by 100%. You can basically get 200% of Castoris's ult, and every single percentage of overflow will increase his her damage multiplier by only 0.234, I think. Uh, yeah, I mean, Castris is a well-used character, so I don't mind going to detail in early. 0.24, and if there are less than 2 enemies, the multiplier is increased by 0.67. So if we just go into a calculator, 0.64 times 100 is basically you get 64% additional scaling on her HP. So 64% HP on her attacks is a massive buff because she already has scaling of her own. This just increases how much her HP determines the damage that Castris does. This, even though is a very simple buff, this actually is very significant in increasing her damage output. Of course, you will need to her to overflow to get this damage, but oftentimes this will probably be feasible, not with 100%, but at least around 50 or 60%. I'm sorry. This lasts for the entire battle, so after you use her skill, Cyrene skill on casters, this just lasts the entire battle. You can cast her ult multiple times, and you can get this overflow multiple times as well. Next is our goat, and Anexagoras immediately recovers one skill point when the skill is given to Anexa, advances his action by 100%, and it gives 54% skill damage, 84% attack, and 3 instances of damage, which means he can implant more weakness and deal more damage during his skill. And of course, this also applies to his additional skill as well. So you can basically get +6 damage instant. This unfortunately lasts only one skill usage, so this will be a large jump in damage, but then it stops. I don't think this is quite fair, but I think is supposed to be balanced. It needs to be not like immediately broken. Next is Hyacinth. She gets 2 stacks of something. The name is quite hard to say. She gets 30 energy and her heals are increased by 100% if she has a stack. So she gets 2 stacks. When she uses a basic or skill, the stack is reduced, and while she has the stack, her heals are increased by 100%. So you know how Hyacinth is usually the character, like she is broken like in terms of sub DPS damage, but she isn't really that good in healing. So this basically mitigates that need, and she also gets energy to fuel her out even further. This only lasts for like 2 stacks because these 2 stacks can be consumed by skill and ult. So after the stack are gone, the effects are also gone. Cypher damage dealt increases by 50%, her death rate further increased by 28%, and all other enemies' death are decreased by 60%. Cypher, you know how there's one enemy that is given this patron state, the one that actually scales the true damage of her entire kit. So the death rate of that patron is decreased by 28%. I think this is flat. So I think she already has a like 54% death rate, so this is like a maybe 70% death rate. I don't know, I will need to check. But this is an added 28% damage, and all other enemies that are on the patron are death decreased by 16%. And this buff also lasts the entire battle, so after this your cipher will just be an amazing spot. Now the goat Finan. I, I will literally just put more spacing just because so it after becoming Kaslana or after entering his alt state, his crit rate is increased by 22%, and after his alt turns ends, all of his turns get refreshed. These extra turns consume 50% of his current HP, and after using an attack, receive 55% additional damage, scaling 54% of his attack, and this lasts the entire battle. So, what makes this the greatest buff to Finan is because, one, you keep all of the buffs that is given to Finan during his ultimate because it basically like freezes all duration. But this part, after his ult don't get fresh, you are basically stuck in Finan's ult form forever. And I frame that as stuck because you literally cannot get out. Maybe if you die, then you get out of the ult state. I think that's the only part where you get out. But if you can live during the final ult, you will basically be in the old form forever. That is a massive buff to final because his only downside so far is the fact that he has massive damage output, but it is uh like walled off by his ult uptime. This basically negates all of that minus and basically makes final forever stay. Okay. Then heard sorry for the distraction. As a result, all the returns get refreshed. So when the end, usually the part where the planet explodes and all, that doesn't happen. He just comes back and like nothing has happened. Although these turns also consume 50% of his current HP, not max HP, current HP, so the less HP you have, the less HP this attack will consume. Of course, you do keep in mind that Finan heals every time he attacks, so this is basically just this is almost ignorable because Finan will almost like 90% of the time heal more than this consume his HP. And after using an attack, receive 5% additional damage, dealing 54% of his attack. This is just basically means that his attack deal more damage. This is just broken. I love this. I love this part because it's just the lore implication of this is very basically amazing. The next part is high silence. After using an attack, regenerate 60 energy, increase damage at 140%, and detonates all dot for 80% or 112%. I think this is the part where it's dependent on high silence on scaling of dot. You will need to read her kit to know what part of this applies to of the original damage. So this is just a one-time attack. So after using attack, like any attack, if you use a basic skill or maybe even an ult, she gets 60 energy. That attack damage is increased by 140%, and then that's all dot by this attack. Pretty good. Sarija, crit damage of the character with Sarija skill is 42%, increased by 42%, and after triggering the additional skill back, she uses one shot for her double skill thing. So you can give one buff to a character by Sarija. This buff is then the crit damage given by the buff is increased by 42%. And then after triggering the additional skill effect, she receives one charge. So when you use Sarija, you need to get 6 charges. That 6 charges is only gained where Sarija uh, skills, Sarija ults, or the character uses an action, a basic or skill. So after you get the 6 stacks, and then you launch the additional skill, you will then get one charge. So this basically just makes the entire process even faster, which is nice. Evernight, our newest character, damage dealt increased by damage dealt by Remembrance Path skill. So her Remembrance Path has a skill. Even the explosion jellyfish thing increased by 64%, and every skill and all she uses now regenerates smart memory stack. I believe she needs 24 memory stacks to get like her red form, or maybe just extreme damage output or something. So you will need to know what memory does, but this is basically what it does, and it's pretty much also broken because memory stack is very hard to come by for Evernight unless you use a full remembrance tip, even though this is one of even though Cyrene is a remembrance character. Yeah, so that's basically Evernight's uptime is basically just you can ignore that. Also, yeah, Cyrene is the entire battle, and Evernight is also doing that. And then our newest character that is not released yet, Dan Hang Permancer Ray. Increases damage dealt by the character with Dante's skill by 22%. You know how his skill is actually one single target, but the shield is given to the entire party. So the one that receives Dante's skill, their damage is increased by 22% for 2 turns. And then the next 3 attack from his dragon, the summon that he has, now deals additional damage based on 112% of the shield effect. So, you know how Danheng will have a shield because he casts a shield now. The additional damage which will be based on this shield, I think, or unless it is scaled upon how much shield and the skill gives. I don't know how this is supposed to go, but yes, it scales off shield effect. Advances Danheng action and dragon. The next dragon attack enhances his ult and increases his shield provided 100%. Uh, I don't know how this does, but Danheng action and dragon self-explanatory 100% action forward, and the next dragon attack enhances his ult. So after one of these dragon, the next dragon attack enhances it out. I don't know how it enhances his ult specifically. We're about to find out sooner or later. And increases his shield provided by the 150%. So basically he just goes into overclock for one shield thing. So the shield that is given from this ability will be very much. That's basically. And if you want to read the entire thing, it is basically very long. And I would recommend if you really want to get a hang of what what is Cyrene really about. But overall, she is an amazingly designed character. So traces when a teammate member side is someone, yeah, we already talked about this. When a member side takes action, it gives her a stack for her ult, and the member side does not need a Cyrene's uptime. Traveler of Time. This one, well, when there are 3 Chrysos Heirs other than herself and our 3 Remembrance characters, she gets 6 points of recollection at the start of combat. So you will basically need, you will always want 4 Chrysos Heirs or Remembrance character in her team. Right now, there are no Remembrance character that is not from Amphorius, so this is basically ignorable for now. But three Chrysos Heirs or three Remembrance characters, and then she gets 6 recollection that 24 recollection stacks from the start is very hard to come. So this is basically needed to make her somewhat her ult comes much faster, because you will need to wait very long time if you don't have Chrysos Heir. And lastly, when Cyrene speeds it as 180% of higher, increases all damage dealt by 20%, massive. And then for each point of speed exceeding, increases Cyrene and her member's ice rest spend by 12%, counting up to a maximum of 60 exceeded skill points. So if you want to max this out, you will need 240 speed on Cyrene. And this just basically means her after the 180%, which is probably mandatory if I would say, you will just get more damage output from Cyrene herself. And that's basically it. She gets some crit stats, some HP buffs, and singular HP buffs. Yes. Her I will not talk about her items because that is probably the least interested. But I do recommend going for her E2, and when it gains 12 recollection points, this basically just negates all of the trouble getting the first ult. So you will get the ult basically so much faster, because you get 12 and then you get 6 from her talent, and then you just need to get 6 more, which is just one skill and your allies taking action. So you will basically get this ult at the very first action of your entire team, which is great. And for different alka, the skill to one skill buff from the member set, the damage holder on the two members, 5% of the mission. So you know how you can repeat her member spread skill multiple times. Yeah, after you repeat that to a number of 3 times, you will get the buff from her skill, that is the true damage buff, to increase. This is great because true damage is a rare type of buff, and increasing that true damage even further means more damage output than from the team, but uh, adding more to how broken she is as a character. E1 is great because well, which is 3 points, consume all 3 story points and within one shot. So and also lots of balls and 3 collection points, and this within also balls. So from what I get is that after you cast an ult 3 times, yes, I think 3 times, yeah, you it basically makes her Cyrene act faster, because after you get 3 ults, you don't need to give the skill to a character again, because either you want to give it again or you not, because you remember some of the characters have the entire battle, so the uptime is not very needed to be given attention to. So this basically just give her an extra turn after 3 ults. I think this means 3 ults because 3 points and only when ult gets 1 story. So that's basically it. And use the number of bounce from master skill pawn. This is our basic his hand skill, I think, but I don't think that is very relevant because she does not deal damage. Yeah, that is all from Cyrene. Her entire kit is very much broken, I would say. 101 base speed, probably will need to get some work for that to scale even more. But that is all from me. Thanks for watching. Well, it is a 30-minute video. Jesus Christ. Alright. Thank you all and see you on the next video. Sorry for the